Okay, it is 7 o'clock on April 14, 2026, and I'm going to call this regular meeting of the West Valley School Board of Directors to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is over there. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, any changes to the agenda?
Also, just to let the audience know, we do have Haley Larson here on the phone, and that is part of our district policy procedures that we can have board members participate by phone. So just
thank
let
you
know.
for that. I appreciate it.
So we do have all 5 board members with us. All right, and then the question was changes to the agenda. Yes, we do have some changes to the agenda. We're going to add a travel item, travel request number 2, and that is our golf team, high school golf team on an overnight trip to Bremerton, leaving on April 28th and returning April 29th, and that's funded partially transportation by extracurricular, and then the motel costs by ASB. So that's a travel request number 2 added to the agenda. And then also a change to the agenda is that we're going to delete number 12, the executive session. That will be deleted. And that's all the changes to the agenda.
Okay, communications.
All right, we do have a response to public comments. So at the school board meeting on March 24th, a community member shared information about the increase in elementary reading scores in Mississippi. Response is that Mississippi has enacted curriculum changes that are aligned to the science of reading. The curriculum in West Valley has been aligned to the science of reading for many years. The science of reading is a balanced approach, which includes time for students to read books and stories, and time for direct instruction in small groups for phonics, phonemic awareness, and phoneme segmentation. In West Valley, curriculum materials for books and stories include our Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Into Reading, and curriculum materials for phonics, phonemic awareness, and phoneme segmentation include Curriculum Associates Phonics for Reading, Haggerty Phonemic Awareness, and Orton Gillingham Foundational Literacy Skills. While the district is always working for continuous improvement, all 6 elementary schools in West Valley have received recognition for student achievement. And I did include in the board packet a list of the achievements that each of our schools and district have received over the years. And that concludes the response to public comment.
Okay, thank you. It is now time for our school presentation. We're glad to be here and glad to have you both here.
All right, so I'm going to move the phone over here so Haley can hear Kristen and Chelsea with the presentation, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to them.
Thank you. Thanks, Peter. Hi, welcome tonight. I'm Kristen Williams. I'm the instructional coach here at Apple Valley.
And I'm Chelsea Harris. I teach first grade here at Apple Valley.
And we wanted to start by saying our principal, Heidi Sutton, had hoped to be here tonight and had a family emergency. So her apologies that she wasn't able to be here with us. So with that said, we're just going to kind of share what it looks like and feels like to be at Apple Valley as a learner. Our building focus is really centered around our district strategic plan and our building school improvement plan. So we're going to focus on those 2 elements. The first being our instructional commitment. Our teachers and staff have been working really hard the past few years on refining our targets and success criteria. Chelsea's going to talk about that in just a few minutes. And we've been following the district's lead, following Dr. Tammy Campbell on the focus on teacher clarity. Teachers really having that end goal in mind of what is it that we want our young learners to achieve and how are we going to best get them there. And then obviously our goal number 1 in our district strategic plan is student safety and belonging. So we want to share a little bit about our PBIS system and how our students have some voice and choice in what they get to participate in.
Again, the PBIS is Positive Behavior Intervention
System. Thank you. Acronym that I need to find. Yeah, so we'll get into that when we get to that portion. Thank you.
Okay, so this is kind of basically touching on all the learning target work that we have done. So for the past, I'd say 3 years maybe or so, we've really pushed towards sharpening and enhancing our learning targets. And as Heidi would say, we've moved far away from these I can read statements to very, like, you can see a couple examples on there. You can't really see my board up there, but they're obviously lengthy, and but my kids can still read them. Every week when I change them, my kids are like, oh, what are we learning next week? So they're usable, they're attainable even for first grade learners. They know the routine and things like that. And personally, I have just seen so much more success come out of my teaching. And I feel like I've become a better teacher, having been more intentional about what I'm teaching my kids. They know what they're learning. They know when we are going through the learning target, then as the lesson goes on, I go back to my success criteria and I go, hey, have we read EE and EA words? Okay, we got that part of our target done. Okay, now we're gonna work on spelling them here, and we go on and go forth. And they know the expectations and things like that. So, like you see on the slide here, they're student friendly, so they're written in a way that my kids can read and understand and know, and I talk through them so that they understand too. They're measurable, so like you can write on, or sometimes I'll write on there, you can write words like these 3 words, or I might change it to like, I can write 5 words with the EE and the EA correctly, or I can spell the same word. So they're measurable and kids know when they've reached that success criteria. And then of course they're always aligned and relevant. So I'm not gonna write a learning target for something that I'm not teaching. It's relevant to what we're learning in the classroom. So. And then I think we have a couple of
a few more slides. Yeah, and like Chelsea said, it really is just about that depth of learning and having students be able to articulate what they're learning and the why behind it, and just following that progression, not only within a lesson or within a unit, but vertically, you can see it from grade level to grade level as you're in the classrooms. So these are some examples of some kinder, first grade, student-friendly, on the student work towards some success criteria. So those are in the students' hands. They're referring to them daily as they work on those dictation booklets and writing journals. These are some other first grade ones. I believe some of these are Chelsea's.
Yeah, this one on the left is one we're working on right now. And so, I mean, we've done this unit for 2 weeks. This is what stayed up there. My success criteria sometimes changes if I'm gonna do more than a couple weeks or whatever, but even like I can use drawings, 100 chart, making a 10, or adding my 10s and 1s to solve my problem. Those were like individual days. So I'm like, hey, today we're working on this specific part of our success criteria. I want you to focus on this specific part. And then I'm just obviously very articulate with that. And I also wanted to add another thing that Heidi would say if she was here is long gone are the days, or when she can go in a classroom and be like, hey, what are you learning today? And kids like, reading or math or whatever, something generalized. They can refer to our targets and be more explicit with what they are learning too, which is huge growth, even from a few years ago.
Yeah.
So.
And not only can they tell you what, but they could say, we did that last Monday. I mean, they know, they're very sharp.
Yes.
Here are some other more intermediate targets and success criteria, some writing and math.
And then the communication, the response to public comment was a perfect segue as to what we were going to discuss today too. So as most of you know, we adopted a new reading curriculum. It's our HMH, Houghton Mifflin hardcore. Yeah, hardcore. Last year, so this is our 2nd year using this particular curriculum. And I will say, last year was hard. It was a lot. There was a lot of pieces, a lot of things that we needed to kind of sort through. But I told Heidi this during my post-observation after my last observation, that I think personally the structured literacy piece that is so aligned to the science of reading is so intelligent. I have learned so much from it. Now I can confidently say, like, hey, we use the TCH after a short vowel sound. Like, I can be very explicit with my kids with, okay, this is a trigraph. You know, these 3 letters together make one sound, just like a digraph is 2 letters that make one sound. And so when we see the TCH or the DGE, which are 2 trigraphs that we teach in 1st grade, those always come after a short vowel sound. Instead of like, I don't know when you use the TCH or the CH at the end of a word. And there are words that have the CH at the end or things like that. However, I have more explicit, again, instruction so that I can tell my kids, like, this is why. In the curriculum, it was a learning curve for me, and I have my master's in reading. Like, I'm certified in reading, and I have my master's in it, and I have learned so much from teaching specifically the structured literacy. And I also, like, you have to just kind of take and use the pieces, and we've kind of found like what works and what not doesn't. And like personally, I found that the phonemic awareness piece of our curriculum wasn't just making the mark for my kids. It was too short. It was not robust enough for my person or for me personally. So I'm like, hey, we're gonna pull out our Haggerty book and we're gonna do this, and that has just added so much more depth to my kids' phonemic awareness. And so the structured literacy aspect of our curriculum reaches K2, which is that phonics-based section of our elementary teaching or reading teaching, yes. And I think it is amazing. I don't think I would have told you that necessarily last year, but I can tell you now that I've taught it a second time and I'm running through it a second time, I know what's coming. It is working. And like, obviously there's pieces of it too, where like, I will say, I don't love that we don't have like hardcover books for our kids to read that are of that, but we've again been able to kind of manipulate that. We have our instructional time, our intervention time. My team has decided to keep our own kids and send our lab kids so that they can get their extra phonemic awareness and phonics boost. And then I'm keeping my kids, and I have leveled readers for them to then practice what we've done. So we've been able to move pieces of our curriculum around to make it the best viable instruction for our kids. And I think I am just excited to see what's to come. I'm very excited to see the progression of kids who started in kinder with the structured literacy to see just like what that development goes through the rest of the year. But I think it does a really good job, and whoever had that public comment, I hope that they get to listen to this, because we are doing it, and science of reading, I think, is the way to teach reading. So,
and science of reading is, just to make sure we're all on the same page, is really just the study of the brain and how a brain learns to read. We aren't born we are born knowing how to communicate. We verbally, but our brain has to make those connections in order to learn to read. So really, science of reading is kind of all the encompassing research that has gone behind all of the structured literacy phonics instruction, and that we are all teaching a guaranteed viable curriculum so that every student in every building in the district is getting that same dose of science of reading. Moving on, so another part of our strong foundations, we want to increase the percentage of students scoring on grade level in reading. So this is just our building data. The most recent we have for our iReady is January. We actually will be testing again next month for our spring diagnostic. But as you can see the growth that was made from fall to winter of students that were at or above grade level within each grade level band. And then again, percentage of students reaching their annual typical growth goal. So annual typical growth is that we want to see, no matter where a student comes in to us, that they are making 1 full year's growth. So if you have a 5th grader that came in as a 3rd grade reader, they're going to leave at a 4th grade reader at least. So they're making 1 year's full growth. So again, that was just partway through the year. Like Chelsea said when we were going over the data, it's always like, ooh, I'm happy to see that growth, but we're always very anxious to see the spring, because that's only 1/2 a year's bit of learning. And then kind of finally, the last piece that we've done as a staff is, like I said, following the district strategic plan and the work with Dr. Tammy Campbell around teacher clarity. And we had a really big turnout this year. We have 19 staff members that we meet. Chelsea's part of it. We meet monthly. We read a chapter ahead of time is the agreement, and then we come with prepared questions ready to discuss. And I think what's been really nice for me as the coach is seeing the conversations that are happening across the grade levels. Chelsea's in a wing, her end of the wing is first grade, down the hall are kinder teachers. There's a lot of times during the day where you don't see in a big building like this, the second, third, fourth, fifth grade teachers. And the conversations that teachers are having about, what did you think about this? What are, how do you backwards plan in this way? Or where do you see your students struggling in different areas? So really just diving deep into, like Chelsea shared, our growth in goals and success criteria, but the teacher has to have the clarity first and then be able to transfer that on to the students to learn. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think, yeah.
Okay.
That's everything.
Our second component was our culture of safety and belonging. Kind of did them in reverse order, but this is Courage, our mascot, Courage the Cougar. Students get very excited when Courage comes out. He hasn't made an appearance in a while, so hopefully one of these assemblies. But he, just kind of symbolizes our commitment to the positive, engaging educational environment. And I brought you each your very own trading card because these are a hot commodity at our student store. So we will talk about that in our PBIS. But here's some of our data just from the student's voice of how they feel about coming to school. I think that is one thing, and I know Chelsea would agree. Teachers that work at Apple Valley, we love it. Like, we feel so fortunate because the kids want to be here. And I know that's true of all schools in our district, but our data shows that our kids are doing well and want to be here. So our first goal is the percentage of students feeling safe at school. And this is just a Google survey. So in 24, there were 83%, up to 91, up to 93. So we started off with a pretty high, lofty percentage, and we just have continued to grow. Another piece of data is the percentage of students indicating feeling a sense of belonging. So again, just that you have somebody. That's what we always say is every student needs somebody to be their person. And can we all say that we all have a connection and a relationship with each and every one of our students? So again, that growth from 63% up to 86%. And then students understanding the expectations of school. We're going to get into PBIS, our positive behavior incentive PBIS systems. Thank you. My goodness. Yes, couldn't get that out. So students do know, 78% say they feel confident they know our expectations. And then the 20% and the 3% were just somewhat, or often and somewhat. Again, feeling safe at school, that percent has continued to increase over the years. Of course, we want all of our students to feel safe every day. And celebrations. We're going to talk a little bit about our celebrations. So our PBIS system is our Cougar Pride standards. So you'll see up there, these are our standards. You'll see them around the room. And you can go in and ask a first grader at kindergarten, what are our 3 standards? Are you showing them? And it's make good decisions, solve problems, and show respect. And we continually reteach those standards of what does that look like? What does that mean? We have an MTSS, which is a multi-tiered system of support in our school. So tier 1 is what you would see every student in the school getting on a daily basis. So we have these standards in place for our entire school. Our standards are implemented and modeled within the classroom. And our counselor is out doing social emotional learning and social skills lessons in the classrooms. Our tier 2 are for those students, that smaller group that need a little bit of extra support. So we have a care team that meets and we basically brainstorm. A teacher can come to the table and say, hey, I have a student that needs some extra support in, it could be anything. It might be attendance. It might be something academic. It might be something social emotional. But the care team meets and brainstorms together. And then our counselor, again, works with just some targeted small groups on top of meeting with every classroom in the building. And then our tier 3 are those students that need some extra support and attention. Sometimes that can be in a small group, but it can also be one-on-one. So we have a staffing team that is like, I would say, a step above the care team in the amount of services and ideas that we are coming up with and really data-driven that we need to meet students' needs. And again, our counselors involved in that. And we are really happy to have a BCBA, which is the behavior specialist in our building. That's new to our building this year. And it's just an invaluable staff member. She is there to support students, sometimes in crisis, and be an extra hand for the teacher so that the teacher can continue to teach, but we're also meeting that student's needs in the moment. Here are some of the reason why we're here, the kids. They are recognized monthly at Achiever Assemblies, getting Cougar standards and for their academic growth. And we celebrate. We love to celebrate our students. So they can use their Cougar tickets, which is what they earn for showing their standards, at a student store. We have an upcoming Cougar Pride Reward Day next Friday. We have assembly experiences where students can enter their tickets to get to be called up and do the relay race, or I don't know, we've had all kinds of just dress up. Yeah. Getting to get up in front of your peers, in front of the whole school, for those kids who like to be on the stage. And then we do have Friday trivia and announcements. So again, that was an item that students could purchase to get to come down and be the guest trivia reader. And we love that too. And that's it. That's kind of our school in a nutshell. We're just here to meet our students' needs, to watch them grow, not just academically, but just socially, and send them off to the middle school. Any questions?
I'll just say, I don't have a question really, but I can just tell by both of your enthusiastic presentation. It's really fun and awesome to teach here. So thanks for this.
I mean, my kids were upset with me when I told them it was spring break.
We want to stay here.
A couple things I really appreciated, Ms. Harris, was I think you made a statement a couple times where you said, I feel like I've become a better teacher. And I think what makes a good teacher is one that is always wanting to become a better teacher. And so I just see that in you, and I say, good job. And I love the success criteria that is put up there, like to give the kids a goal, like this is what I'm going to reach, and it's right in front of them. And I think it's such a great thing to do. I did have a question. The staffing team on tier 3, what teachers make up that?
Good question. So that is quite a large team. We meet Thursday mornings. It involves Mrs. Sutton, the principal, the counselor, myself as the instructional coach, our school psychologist, our whole special ed team. So the resource room teacher, our DLC teacher, sometimes our TK teacher is involved, I guess with two resource teachers, and then now our BCBA has also joined the team. If a teacher, like if Chelsea had a student that went through the care team and we didn't see the growth that we had wanted to see, or there were still further concerns, staffing is like the next step. So Chelsea would come as the teacher and present, kind of what has been documented. We usually do a 6-week data trial. So whatever it is we're trying to help that student achieve, the teacher will bring the data to show what has been successful or maybe not. And then the team can decide whether to move further. Sometimes it's moving forward with an evaluation for learning needs. Yeah.
Thank you.
Big team.
Anything else? Haley, do you have any questions?
No question.
Okay. Almost forgot about you down there.
All right, well, let's give them a hand.
Thank you
Nice
so
job.
much. Okay, I'm going to open the public comment session. Are there any signups? No signups. Is there anybody here that would like to have a public comment? Okay, I am closing the public comment agenda item. And we're going to move into number 8 on the agenda, which is action items. And the first item is approval of minutes for March 24 study session, March 24 board meeting, and April 7th special board meeting. Are there any questions or corrections from the board?
I'll make a motion to approve. Okay, all 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, there's a motion to approve all 3 minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Okay, that motion is carried 5-0. B, approval of travel requests. The one is to the FFA State Convention in Pullman, Washington, May 13 through 17. And the second one that was added is Joshua Borland Boys Golf, Beaverton, April 28 through 29. And I'm going to make a motion to approve both of those. Bremerton, what did I say? Oh, it's spelled Bremerton. I'm going to make a motion to pass both those travel requests. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed by the same sign. That motion is carried 5-0. Any items arising? Okay, Dr. Finch, Superintendent's report.
Just superintendent's report, shared lots of end of the school year type of activities, and just want to highlight Thursday, April 23rd, we have an all-district multicultural celebration at the high school gym, and that's always a fun event. So lots of activities coming up, and there'll be more in May and June as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any board reports, board development? Okay, it is now 7:25 and I am adjourning this meeting before 7:30.